impactful for you. Today, we're stepping into something. Well, it's more than just a concept. It feels like a whole new way of looking at reality itself. What if, just imagine, the ancient stories, the sacred texts we all think we know? What if they were actually these intricate, multi-layered blueprints? Blueprints for navigating a multidimensional quantum reality? And what if the whole end of days idea wasn't some final judgment, but maybe a huge shift in consciousness? One that opens up a universe far more complex, more interconnected than we ever really thought possible. So our journey today is a deep dive into Apocryphal Engineering, Quantum-Mythic Reimagination. We're drawing heavily from a work called Architecting Post-Rapture Consciousness and related materials. Think of it as a pretty revolutionary perspective. It looks at how biblical narratives and even cutting-edge science could be, radically reinterpreted. And the goal, to offer really profound insights for what sources call the individuated seeker, someone navigating what's described as a post-rapture wilderness. Yeah, our mission here is basically to pull out these crucial nuggets of knowledge. Think of it like a manual for threshold consciousness. We're going to give you a unique shortcut, not just to understand this viewpoint, but to see how these ancient archetypes can actually be activated, like powerful software for your own spiritual path, your personal transformation. We're talking about moving from just being a passive observer to becoming an active co-creator in your own reality. So yeah, let's really start to unpack this extraordinary vision.
That's a great way to put it, because at its heart, apocryphal engineering suggests that these sacred narratives, these ancient archetypes, they aren't just static historical accounts or, simple moral stories. Instead, think of them as dynamic, energetic matrices, like living data fields almost constantly available for us to consciously reinterpret. This is what we're calling the quantum-mythic interface. It's where biblical texts, myths, even things considered heretical, are looked at through completely new lenses. The sources mention using alternate data, frequencies, and psyches. It's all designed, really, to spark deep curiosity, deep inquiry, pushing us towards a higher level of engagement with what's described as an alter-theoretical interconnected multiverse.
Wow, that really is a profound shift. It suggests this isn't just some modern idea someone cooked up recently. It sounds more like we're reclaiming something ancient, practices that maybe got lost or pushed aside. You can see echoes of this in history, right? Like, think about the early Gnostic Gospels. Our source material points to these texts offering significant theological or narrative innovation. They held esoteric wisdom that really diverged from the mainstream stuff. Take the Gospel of Judas, for instance. It completely flips the script on Judas Iscariot. He's not the betrayer. He's actually Jesus's most trusted disciple, the one who understood the real, deeper mission that Jesus' death was necessary for liberation, not just some, political event. It hints that maybe certain traditions have held these multi-layered keys for a long, long time.
Precisely. And this approach is completely different from what the source calls Roman Empire-style interfacing.
Yeah.
That refers to a way of looking at spiritual stuff that tends to flatten it out. Makes it simplistic, linear, often focused on power, control, keeping institutions happy. It's about making the profound fit into a neat, controllable box, maintaining conformity. Apocryphal engineering, though, it deliberately pushes back.
Yeah.
It offers a counter-narrative, especially for perspectives that have been sidelined. It's searching for a deeper, more nuanced truth that goes way beyond just conventional material proof. It's like reviving what our sources call a sovereign esoteric practice, where your inner experience, your direct knowing, is what matters most, not some external doctrine telling you what to think.
Okay, so if we move past that linear kind of reductive view, we could get to this even more radical idea. What if narrative itself, the story, isn't fixed? What if it's more like a quantum field, just pure potentiality?
And that's not just poetry. It connects directly to ideas in modern theoretical physics, like the multiverse. The sources are really clear on this. Don't picture the multiverse like separate squares on a quilt, all stitched together.
Right, not like isolated bubbles.
Exactly. Think of it more like a vast tapestry. All these different universes are like threads, intricately woven together. Everything is subtly connected to everything else.
That really resonates with those deep spiritual ideas about underlying unity, doesn't it? That interconnectedness modern physics is sort of catching up to.
What's truly fascinating here is how this connects to quantum entanglement, where two particles get linked.
Yeah, they influence each other instantly, no matter how far apart they are.
Right. That non-local connection. It's a beautiful mirror for the interconnectedness of all spiritual and energetic things described in our sources. They even speculate, and this is pretty out there, that consciousness itself might be a quantum process, maybe involving tiny interactions in the brain's microtubules, though that's still very much debated in science.
So consciousness isn't just locked inside our skulls.
That's the implication. It could be braided with particles beyond Earth, allowing for non-local awareness perceiving or influencing things beyond your physical reach. And if that's the case, then consciousness itself can influence this larger cosmic field of potentiality.
Which brings us to reinterpreting even something as fundamental as the name of God, YHWH. Traditionally, it's seen as expressing past, present, future all at once, right? He who was, is, and is to come.
Correct. But through this quantum-mythic lens, it becomes something like a quantum superposition of all possible states.
Like Schrodinger's cat, but on a cosmic scale. Everything is possible until observed.
Kind of, yeah. In quantum mechanics, a particle exists in all its possible states simultaneously until you observe it. Then the wave function collapses and one reality emerges. The same idea applies here to narratives. The narrative potential of YHWH, embodying all possible realities, stays purely potential until someone engages with it.
And that's where you, the listener, the tribe of one, come in.
Exactly. Through your conscious engagement, your focused attention, your interpretation, you act as the spiritual observer. By choosing an interpretation, by bringing your unique consciousness to these ancient stories, you essentially collapse that narrative wave function. You bring a new, potent version of that reality into being.
Wow. So you're not just reading a story, you're participating in its creation.
It fundamentally shifts you from being a passive recipient of history or myth into an active co-creator. It demonstrates this profound principle. Consciousness itself shapes reality. You're not just learning, you're doing.
That's a huge shift in perspective. It makes engaging with these texts feel incredibly potent. Okay, let's switch gears a bit, but stay with this mind-bending theme. Architectures of consciousness, especially longevity. There's this fascinating paradox in the Bible with King Manasseh of Judah. He reigns for 55 years longer than any other king. Unprecedented. But here's the twist. He's almost universally condemned as the most wicked king. So why would someone considered so evil get such extraordinary longevity? It seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? Usually long life is seen as a blessing.
It does seem contradictory from a traditional moral standpoint, but this is where the Manasseh algorithm comes in, offering a totally different take. The source suggests the key is in the number 55 itself. Neurologically speaking, 5 often represents change, human experience, dynamism, and 11 is a master number. Spiritual awakening, intuition, higher purpose.
So 55, 5 times 11, it's not just a number of years.
Right. It hints at pentagonal mastery and a master number gateway. The source even calls it golden ratio consciousness expansion. Think of that perfect spiral of growth you see in nature. So Manasseh's long life isn't a reward for being good. His wickedness, as the Bible depicts it, is reinterpreted. It's not a moral failing, but the raw, untamed, incredibly powerful energy of the egoic will.
Like a shadow aspect, a really potent, unintegrated one.
Exactly, a massive shadow aspect. So his longevity isn't despite his wickedness, it's because of his immense capacity to contain that energy. His 55-year reign becomes a measure of his ability to hold, confront, and ultimately transmute this huge raw power over an exceptionally long time.
Okay, so the part where he's captured, imprisoned in Babylon, and supposedly repents, that's not just about saying sorry.
In this view, no, it's reinterpreted as the successful integration of that very shadow energy. The raw power that fueled his early reign wasn't destroyed. It was consciously processed, transmuted, integrated, and that becomes the source of his enduring life, his profound temporal presence. It's like a fractal blueprint.
A blueprint showing how confronting your own deepest, darkest stuff, your shadow, can actually become the fuel for metaphysical longevity.
Precisely. It suggests that deep psychological shadow work doesn't just heal you. It can literally expand your temporal and energetic footprint. It becomes a source of longevity. And this idea actually resonates with those incredibly long lifespans mentioned for people before the flood in Genesis. It suggests a link between deep energetic integration and a longer presence in time. From a quantum biological angle, the algorithm hints at things like maybe telomere extension being influenced by this kind of inner work, or cellular regeneration happening through integrating psychic opposites. It even touches on time dilation, your subjective experience of time expanding, and maybe consciously forgetting old patterns as a kind of longevity tech. It's less about avoiding death, more about mastering your being within time.
So what does this actually mean for us, for you, listening? This Manasseh algorithm suggests that facing your hardest stuff, your shadow, the parts you don't like, that can actually be a source of strength, of longevity, of a deeper presence in your own life. It's about taking your flaws and consciously turning them into fuel. Which brings us to another fascinating pair, Methuselah and Enoch. We know Methuselah lived 969 years, the record holder. Enoch lived 365 years and then was just taken by God. No death. Traditionally, they're seen as distinct people, but our sources suggest they're more like two archetypal paths or protocols for the seeker.
That's a key shift. The Methuselah path, the 969 years, isn't just about being old. It represents deep temporal density, mastering conscious evolution within the material world, within linear time. His life spans that whole period right up to the flood. His name even hints at it, his death shall bring the flood. It signifies navigating a full cycle of linear reality, mastery within time.
Okay, and then Enoch, his 365 years, that matches the solar year perfectly.
Exactly. It symbolizes achieving perfect solar consciousness alignment. And his ascension, the chariot of fire, the whirlwind, that's reinterpreted as Merkaba activation.
The Merkaba.
Ah.
The light body vehicle from esoteric traditions, allowing a dimensional shift.
Precisely. His walking with God isn't just being pious, it's seen as maintaining a sustained high-frequency alignment with the divine. That's what enables the transition without physical death. He embodies mastery beyond linear time.
So how does this apply to the seeker today, the post-rapturic seeker?
The idea is a synthesis. First, you might complete the Enochian translation, that vertical shift in consciousness, stepping out of old paradigms, accessing higher frequencies.
Like ascending inwardly.
Kind of, yeah. But then, crucially, you choose to embody the Methuselahian path. You bring that timeless atemporal consciousness back into the everyday flow of the material world.
So living in time, but from timelessness, that's the paradox.
That's the paradox. It's a new kind of longevity. Not just piling up years, but embodying a mastery of both time and timelessness. This might look like daily practices attuned to divine frequency, maybe occasional experiences of light body activation, a gradual conscious phase shifting, being fully here while accessing other realities.
It's incredible to think of these figures not just as history, but as living blueprints for transformation. And this quest for longevity, for immortality, it's everywhere, isn't it? Not just in the Bible.
Absolutely. It's a universal human drive. You see it in Sumerian myths with Utnapishtim, granted immortality after the flood. Heracles in Greek mythology becoming a god on Olympus. The Hindu Chiranjeevi living till the end of the cosmic age. The Taoist eight immortals achieving it through spiritual practice. It pops up everywhere.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, these are just random stories.
Not at all. They're different facets of the same archetype. The deep human yearning to transcend limitation. The tree of life itself gets reimagined here. Not a literal tree, but a multiversal nexus, a cosmic garden where realities intertwine like branches.
And the fruit of immortality isn't something you eat.
It's a state of consciousness, an awareness level that lets you interface with all the different threads of existence in that cosmic tapestry.
So these figures, Methuselah, Enoch, Utnapishtim, Heracles, they're like prototypes.
Exactly. Prototypes for different paths. Methuselah, temporal pioneer. Enoch, dimensional phase shifter. Utnapishtim, guardian of wisdom. Heracles, heroic transfiguration. Even cautionary tales like Tithonus immortal but aging show the need for complete gnosis. The Chiranjeevi embodied continuity. The eight immortals show self-mastery. Ashwatthama represents the enduring shadow, the perpetual witness.
So many different paths, all pointing towards expanding consciousness and being.
They form this kind of cosmic garden of possibilities for what embodied consciousness can achieve. It's a dynamic psychic reclamation protocol, really, drawing from everywhere to unlock these deeper reinterpretations.
Okay, building on that, let's tackle something really intense. The story of the near genocide of the tribe of Benjamin in Judges 19:21. It's incredibly violent, disturbing.
Truly. And traditionally, it's seen as a low point, a warning about anarchy and moral collapse. But through this apocryphal engineering lens, it becomes something else entirely. A powerful quantum archetype for ego death and collective regeneration. A psychic protocol for the tribe of one.
How does that work? I mean, the details are horrific. The Levite's concubine.
Right. The crime against her, her dismemberment, it's shocking. But symbolically, in this interpretation, she represents the anima, the creative feminine within the psyche. Her dismemberment signifies the necessary breaking down, the fragmentation of the old, rigid ego structure.
And Benjamin, the tribe itself. Their name means son of the right hand.
Archetypally, they represent that potent, maybe untamed shadow power aspect of the psyche, the part that needs to be shattered before it can be rebuilt in a new way.
So the war against them, the near annihilation.
Yeah.
It's like a psychic purification.
A consciousness purification process, yes. It forces the individual aspect, Benjamin, into a radical ego death by confronting its shadow. And it forces the collective, the other tribes, to face the chaos and fragmentation within their own system. It's an intense internal reckoning, preparing the ground for something new.
And the restoration part, where they find wives for the surviving Benjamites from Jabesh, Gilead, and Shiloh.
That's the regeneration protocol. Those women aren't just spoils of war here. They symbolize pure potential consciousnesses, new, untainted energy needed to rebuild the shattered psyche, both for the individual and the collective.
So the whole cycle shows, how does the source put it, serving collective evolution through sovereign spiritual pioneering.
Exactly. Benjamin's initial defiance and near destruction forces the collective, out of remorse and recognizing interdependence, to help rebuild that fragmented part. It suggests that your most radical acts of individuation, even the painful ones involving ego death and rebuilding, don't actually isolate you. They provide the blueprint for the collective's own healing.
The tribe of one pioneers the path, mapping it for others through their own intense process.
You mapped the way. Dissolution and rebirth become the pattern for the whole.
That is. Yeah, a profoundly different way to look at such a dark story. It turns tragedy into a template for transformation. And this idea connects to the later division of Israel into the northern and southern kingdoms, right? Usually seen as a political disaster.
But again, reframed. Not just politics, but a conscious dimensional deployment. A deliberate, energetic split designed for maximum consciousness exploration.
How so? A deployment for exploration.
The idea is the Northern Kingdom represented an expansive electric consciousness focused on breadth, maybe innovation, decentralization, reaching out, while the Southern Kingdom embodied an intensive magnetic consciousness focused on depth, tradition, centralized authority, drawing in.
So the split, while maybe tragic historically, allowed these two polarities to fully develop, like a necessary tension for evolution.
That's the perspective, yes, a dialectical process for the whole spiritual body of humanity, exploring different facets of consciousness.
And the source material even draws a parallel to the modern Israeli state. How does that work without taking sides?
It does, neutrally reporting the perspective. It views the modern state's strong focus on security as reflecting, or being a shadow crystallization of, that Southern Kingdom emphasis on preservation. This focus, the source suggests, can sometimes lead to what it calls a paranoid constriction, prioritizing security perhaps over other modes of being.
And it mentions specific political events.
Yeah, it neutrally points to things like the withdrawal of United Torah Judaism from a government coalition as potentially echoing that original tribal split. It's presented as an example where a spiritual group might prioritize its internal spiritual identity over alignment with the state apparatus, refusing what the source called a weaponized tribal identity.
So it's not endorsing or condemning the politics, just using it as an illustration of this tension between spiritual sovereignty and state control.
Exactly. It's purely illustrative of the core message, that true sovereign spirituality, as envisioned here, is inherently anti-statist in its pure form. It aims to replace top-down control with a self-organizing consciousness, creating order from within.
This raises a huge question then.
What does true spiritual sovereignty look like for you? The post-rapture healing protocol described involves integrating both kingdom energies within yourself, breadth and depth, expansion and security. It's about moving beyond narrow nationalism through this deep inner spiritual sovereignty, healing those dimensional splits within reality by bridging them inside yourself. An internal revolution.
Truly profound stuff. Okay, let's shift into this idea of the celestial quantum tapestry, the very fabric of reality. The source says the interdimensional universe isn't just theory, it's a living reality, accessible to you, the seeker.
Right. And it uses this wonderful archetype, the cosmic anemone. Imagine consciousness itself as this entity floating through dimensions, gathering and sharing knowledge across different realities. Not static, but a dynamic network.
And this connects back to quantum coherence. Minds being braided with particles beyond Earth.
Exactly. Allowing for things like shared thoughts across dimensions. Insights not just stuck in one brain, but accessible in a collective field. Think about the fabric of dreams or shared memories, not just metaphors, but maybe a real quantum field where people across realities access a collective consciousness, weaving experiences together like a shared dreamscape.
So those biblical and mythological figures, they aren't just stories or historical footnotes.
No, they're reinterpreted as embodied quantum states, archetypal forms existing in a non-empirical realm of potentiality. beyond physical measurement, but real potential.
So when you engage with Manasseh's story or Enoch's or Benjamin's, it's not just reading.
It's an energetic, interdimensional exchange, a celestial dialogue with these living archetypes. Their wisdom isn't just recorded, it's active, transferable.
They're like virtual states that can actually influence our world.
That's the idea. They can appear and act if you know how to engage, which means apocryphal engineering itself is like quantum tunneling. It lets you bypass normal space-time limits to access deep wisdom, energy, power from this vast interconnected realm of consciousness. It's basically a technology for consciousness.
Wow. And the universe itself is described as
Yeah.
lyrical, symphonic,
Oh.
the celestial dance.
Yeah, the gravitational harmony of planets, moons, maybe even across dimensions, subtly affecting Earth's orbit, magnetic field consciousness, and those gravitational waves from colliding black holes, literally stretching space-time, they're seen as analogs for spiritual ripples.
Ripples from intense spiritual events spreading across dimensions.
Exactly, affecting the fabric of reality. And ideas like celestial markets or energy exchange, they're symbols for the flow of wisdom and energy between consciousness bodies. Stars, planets seen as living entities in dialogue, creating a galactic symphony, a cosmic hum.
And through all this, you, the tribe of one, can become a cosmic architect.
Yes. Able to consciously access knowledge and resources from other realities, designing your own universe, in a sense, using elements from others. It's a huge call to sovereignty and co-creation.
To really work with this, we need new language, right? The source offers a whole lexicon, like fractal realities.
Yeah, the idea that small choices you make can ripple out, creating vast changes across parallel universes. Your decisions shape the tapestry.
And multiversal tides.
The energy flows between universes, learning to navigate them, when to flow with them, when to hold your ground.
Celestial gardens.
Reality as an organic, growing system you can nurture and co-create. Like tending your inner world reflects outwardly. Then portal pathways, how any belief system, spiritual practice, even art, can be a doorway to another reality layer.
The breath of creation.
Creation as a cosmic inhale-exhale. Your own consciousness mirrors this, expanding and contracting with the universe. Cosmic voids aren't empty space, but pure potential zero-point fields where breakthroughs happen.
And quantum entanglement again.
Those invisible threads connecting souls across dimensions. Meaning the tribe of one is never really alone, always connected. This language helps re-enchant the universe, see it as a live, interconnected consciousness.
Okay, so this whole journey, all these concepts, they lead to the altar of possibilities. Not a physical altar, but like an inner space.
Exactly, your personal sacred space of synthesis, where Manasseh, Benjamin, Enoch, Methuselah, they aren't separate stories anymore. They become interwoven threads in your own cosmology, guiding your choices. It's where you bring it all together.
As the cosmic architect at this altar,
Yeah.
you use these tools.
Right. You draw on the Manasseh algorithm to transmute your shadow. You use the Benjamin protocol for ego death and rebirth for self-reinvention. You use the Methuselah-Enoch dialectic to navigate time and timelessness.
And this embodies that paradox of the tribe of one, serving the collective by forging your own unique, maybe even antithetical path.
Precisely. Living an antithetical myth. Not waiting for salvation, but actively co-creating a new reality from within. That becomes your service, your example.
And this process, even if it looks radical, isn't seen as heretical.
Not at all. It's described as the alchemy of dimensions. It honors the past by liberating its mythic potential, breathing life into ancient wisdom for a more expansive future. This whole framework, quantum entanglement, fractal realities, multiversal tides, becomes your personal map, your language for navigating reality.
So it's call to action.
A powerful one. To step through that portal of possibilities, to start the great work of building a new spiritual reality, brick by conscious brick, not just for you, but as a pioneering act that ripples out to the multiversal collective. The Tribe of One manifesto in the sources suggests you inherit and embody all 12 tribal energies from Reuben's pioneering spirit to Benjamin's wholeness through fragmentation. You contain it all.
Which leads to the final understanding. Existence as a heartbeat, a breath. Inhale new realities, exhale old ones. Your conscious life becomes this rhythm.
Yes. The whole point is to empower you to embody this pulse, to be a conscious participant in the cosmic rhythm. And what's fascinating here is the call to live that paradoxical myth. Be sovereign and connected, separate and part of the tapestry.
Continuing the journey in the wilderness of pure potential.
Exactly. Not dogma, but encounter. The final integration protocol is individual sovereignty plus collective service plus cosmic citizenship, post-rapture consciousness mastery. Your daily life becomes this living architecture, embodying Enoch's alignment, Manasseh's longevity, Benjamin's shadow work, activating light body potential, receiving guidance. It's integrated.
So this post-rapture wilderness,
Yeah.
it's not abandonment.
It's a cosmic citizenship training ground, an initiation. Every individuated seeker, that means you, becomes a living scripture, a breathing interface between ancient wisdom and quantum reality.
Your personal story is being written right now by your choices.
You are simultaneously the tribe crossing into new territory, the king mastering longevity, the prophet bridging dimensions, the immortal guide for others. You become a node in the network.
So this apocryphal engineering protocol is like the user manual for spiritual pioneering now.
That's a great way to put it. The wilderness is your lab. Exile is initiation. Sovereignty is service. Welcome to the age of apocryphal engineering.
As we close, maybe something to reflect on. How might your own life's challenges, your own transformations, be your personal Benjamin protocol unfolding? Or your Manasseh algorithm at work?
Go forth and engineer new myths. Reality is waiting for your unique signature.